is Tariq Talk. Your host, Tariq Mendez, takes you on a journey with guests from all around the world. Broadcasting around the world. Around the world. This is Tariq Talk.
All right, guys, today I'm here with Marcus Civin. Marcus, how are you today?
I'm real good.
We are here on day one of Spring Break Art Show. Do you mind sharing your Instagram so people can check out your work as they listen to the podcast episode?
Yep. It's just my name, Marcus Civin, and then writing. So Marcus Civin Writing.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So congrats, Spring Break Art Show
Thank
day
you.
one. Your booth looks amazing. Just to double check, it's booth 35.
Yes.
Are you going to be here all throughout each day?
Yeah, on and off. Yeah, but
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you
Try
mind
to hit some of the other fairs too.
Yes. There's so much going on, so much to do and see. Do you mind telling us a little bit about the work you're exhibiting here?
Sure. So I write 4-word, 4-letter poems, and they always use the word only. And I think of them as love poems, although all kinds of love, not just romantic love. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And what's your creative process like? How did you come up with this? How do ideas come to you?
Well, so I would say everyone should try to make only poems. Everyone should try to make 4-word, 4-line poems. They're really fun to do. You can do them when you're shopping.
Yeah.
You can do them when you're walking down the street.
Yeah.
You can do them in, a boring something that you have to be at.
Yeah.
You can think about your only poem.
Love that.
And sometimes, I'll write them in my cell phone notes on my phone, or I carry notebooks with me, or just write them on a piece of paper. And then when I get home, then I'll make them into a painting or a drawing.
Oh, wow. And do you prefer? That was actually going to be my question. And do you prefer, do you prefer to work in the daytime? Are you a nighttime person, or just whenever inspiration strikes?
I think I like, kind of quiet time. So that could be any time of day. But I definitely like if you've worked for a while and you kind of lose track of time. You've played all the podcasts, you've listened to all the songs, and it's just. You get into that peaceful kind of place.
Yeah. And do you have any studio rituals? When you first get to the studio, you got to have read the paper or get a coffee or have to do anything? Or can you just get in, close the door and get to work?
I definitely like to organize supplies, you know, I have a toolbox for the paint, jar for this and container for that. So I like to, sort of make sure everything's set out, and I'll make my plan, I'm going to try to do this much today,
And then do you have any pets that you keep in the studio or anything? Any pets?
Oh, I don't have any pets.
I don't have any pets? No, me neither.
I wish I did.
It's a lot. It's too much upkeep. When you live in the East Coast, I think winter. I'm from Brazil originally. I cannot do walking in the snow. Sorry, but I do love pets.
Someday.
And are you able to keep a work-life balance? Or are you always inspired? Always think? Can you kind of separate the two?
Well, I do a lot of things, and work-life balance is definitely new to me. The amazing thing is that I found it in New York.
Oh, wow.
So New York, which is this crazy place with so much going on, I actually feel the most calm here and the most balanced, and my laundry is done and hung up and folded.
Yeah.
Groceries are in the fridge, whereas at other points in my life, that was challenging.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And do you think being, as you said, you're from Boston, correct?
I was born in Boston, grew up in Baltimore, and then moved around a bunch.
Oh, okay. And do you think that background has impacted your work?
Interesting. I definitely think I've moved a lot, and so I definitely think when I'm making something, I do think about where's this gonna go?
Yeah.
And often these only poems, when I first started making them, I would send them to people.
Yeah.
So they were gifts to start with. That was a trick that another artist taught me a long time ago. It's if you're not sure about something, when you're starting, send a couple of them as gifts to people. And kind of, then you have that audience of one. And I thought that was nice.
It's a focus group almost, right?
Yeah. But also for love poems.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And how did you start? Did you start writing the poems and then transfer them to the canvas, or it was that from the beginning?
You got it. Yeah. And I wanted to put them on linen because I love the way that linen looked, and I had never, I saw other people using linen. I had never tried it before, and I really wanted to try it. And so I tried it a bunch of ways, a bunch of tests and stuff like that. And the letters are really specific. So I've made text-based work for years in lots of different forms, and I looked back. I in moving a lot, when you're moving and
Yeah,
you look through all
yeah.
your boxes, you're like,
Yeah,
what is this?
yeah.
Why am I taking this with me?
Yeah.
And sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes like I see a drawing I made or something and I'm like this corner is good.
Yeah.
And I will still just cut out the corner,
Oh, okay.
and put it back in the box and
Yeah.
recycle the rest of it or use the paper for something
Yeah.
else, So I had this kind of amazing archive of all these letter forms that I'd used before.
Wow.
And so I made a kind of Marcus alphabet from all of those letters that I had used in other works. And then I called up a graphic designer friend and I said, can you help me like clean this up a little bit, like sort of make them more uniform?
Yeah.
And she did that for me. And then I just went to Canal Plastics right over here.
Okay.
And they made it into a stencil for me. So I have sort of a 2 sizes that I use.
Oh, wow. That was actually going to be my question. Are you based in New York right now?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Yeah. And are you does the city inspire you? Do you get any inspiration from being in New York and Brooklyn?
I mean, after I'd been here, I came in at the tail end of the pandemic. And after I'd been here for like a little while, I looked at my friend and I said, I'm not going to be able to see all the shows. And I'm really disappointed because there's so many and I love it.
Oh my God,
this morning when we were coming over here, I said to Matthew, I was like, we could hit a couple galleries on the way in,
Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean, because sometimes I'll plan with my friends hey, let's go to the Met and then we do this, and then we end up 6 hours at the Met and then the whole day is gone,
Right.
Do you ever find yourself going back to old pieces of work and then reusing it or getting ideas and referencing yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I remember when I lived in San Francisco, for example, I had these big windows sort of like these here in the space. And I used to, I was writing Lou Reed lyrics out on paper and then I was taping them to the windows so that you could see the light coming through, and it was sort of a lined notebook paper. And one of the things I did before I went to grad school, I was transcribing books. Mm-hmm. So I rewrote an English translation of War and Peace and Notes from the Underground, Crime and Punishment, and so those works were formative to me, both in terms of understanding how someone constructs a work, overall, but also in terms of thinking about that relationship between, what does it mean to have text on the page, right?
Yeah. And were you always interested in poetry since you were young, a little kid, or over time you got maybe subconsciously you started diving into poems and writing your own?
I was definitely that kid who was up in my room writing stories about changing the names, but it was about me and my friends.
Oh, nice. So looking back at your earlier work, is it very different to what it is now, or do you find certain pieces that has evolved into the current work that you have? I
mean, my friends say, "Oh, this is so Marcus about everything I do," but to me, it always feels "Oh my God, this is totally new and different."
Yeah. And do you ever get stuck when you're in the studio? Do you go in, you do your normal ritual, get to work, but then you find yourself stuck? Are you the artist that will try to push yourself until something gets completed and done, or do you are you able to step away, take some time off, go walk for the rest of the day, have a coffee?
I love my walks. I can't have coffee anymore.
Yeah.
But I love my walks. Deadlines help me a lot.
Yeah, okay.
If I don't have a deadline, sometimes I can get a little lost in the research or kind of go too far on something. But so this was helpful, talking to Ross and Matt, and they're let's try to have this many of them, and I was beautiful, okay.
And how many work do you have you're exhibiting here again?
There are about 20 in there.
20? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And are they all from 1 year or sporadically?
They're all from the last couple of years.
Oh, nice. Nice. And this is your first spring break, right? Art show?
Yeah, I've been before.
Oh,
but this is the first time.
This is your first time exhibiting, or?
First time exhibiting.
First time exhibiting? Oh, that's so cool. And we're only day one, so I hope lots of good news and good sales for both of you guys.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Marcus, for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure. If you could just pretty please give your Instagram account to everybody listening, because a lot of people have written in that they like to listen to the artist and then look at their work as they're speaking. If you could just please say your Instagram one more time for us.
Marcus Civin Writing.
Perfect.
MarcusCivin Writing.
Perfect. So this will get published immediately, and those listening, Booth 35, please talk to to Matthew and Marcus. And a quick question: are you an artist that you like to see people interact with your work, or do you like to like have them talk to you, or have like create a dialogue, or do you kind of just like to watch them from afar?
I'll talk to people.
Yeah.
I like people.
Do you like to see like how they interpret the work and like what they envision and hear like a different perspective?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Very cool. So everybody, please, booth 35, Spring Break Art Show. It's only day one. Up two amazing guests, Marcus and Matthew.
Thank you for listening to Tariq Talk. Follow Tariq Talk on all social media channels and check out the video interviews online. This is Tariq Talk. Your host, Tariq Mendez, takes you on a journey with guests from all around the world. Broadcasting around the world. Around the world. This is Tariq Talk.
All right, guys. Today I'm here with Matthew Couper. Matthew, how are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Do you mind giving us your Instagram, please, to start?
Sure. It's Matthew_Couper_studio, and Couper is spelled Couper.
Perfect. Thank you for spelling that, because a lot of people will later email me or comment, oh, can you have the guest please like spell the name? So
yeah,
because a lot of people like to listen to the episodes and then check out the Instagram while they're listening. Is this your first time at the Spring Break Art Show?
It is. Yeah, really excited to be here. It's been a good setup.
Yeah, nice, very good. Your booth looks amazing, I have to say.
Thank you.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about the work that you're exhibiting here?
Sure. Yeah. So I've got a series of isolation paintings that I've been working on since 2019, and the main idea behind them is about social isolation, which came about from the prevalence of social media and our loss of physical contact. And then COVID happened, so it was a bit of kind of precognition, maybe, you know. And so I kept on going, and to, I guess, give the viewers an idea of what it looks like, there's normally an island in a sea, and then there's objects floating above it, pieces of wood nailed together, smoke, bow drills, pipes, stuff like that. And so I guess the idea behind the paintings is that I'm aestheticizing survival. Yeah. So I'm taking pieces of wood, throwing them up in the air, and seeing kind of where they land. And, you know, as an artist, you aestheticize everything, you know. Yeah. And so it's a way of kind of thinking about the seriousness of survival, especially in contemporary culture. Yeah. And then painting it. And how many works are you exhibiting? I think there's 14. 14, so there's, my goodness. You've been busy. yeah, there's a bunch of little paintings and one big painting and some drawings. I love the amount of details and use of color in your work. That's what grabbed my attention. It's really nice. It feels like it takes you to a portal, you know, like it feels like it takes you like another dimension. I don't know how to explain it correctly. No, that's like right. Sucks you in and like, you know, takes you like to a place with like endless imaginations. That's the vibe I got. Perfect. It's pretty nice. That's what I'm aiming for. Yeah. Cool. And what's your creative process like? Are you like, do you prefer to paint in the day, in the nighttime? It's I guess I'm pretty routine. Like I like to get up and draw and get into a kind of mode of painting, and I guess I'm always thinking about what I want to achieve in the painting. So I might make notes about that, but I am very process based. I like to paint a lot, and I like to paint a lot on one work. So I'm often painting over things or scraping off paint or changing colors. So I like to kind of feel that something's happening for me almost as the viewer and the painter. So it is an experience. And do you have any studio rituals? Like when you get to the studio, are you able to like get to work right away? Do you have to like have a coffee, read the news, like meditate? Always an espresso before I start. Yeah, always an espresso. I'm lucky because I've got a pretty big studio in my house. So I'll often just get up in my dressing gown, have a coffee, and walk straight into the studio and look. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And are you able to like separate your life from your work, or are you kind of like always maybe like getting up in the middle of the night to like go paint or finish something, or are you able to kind of like separate the two? That's a good question. I think as I'm getting older, I try and make it more strict.
Strict,
like
okay.
I work a certain amount of time and stop. And I've got a partner and I've got friends and stuff like that, so I like to make sure I'm taking care of that. And so it's not a job, but it has got that kind of 9 to 5 feel a bit. Yeah.
And how do you keep track of your ideas? Like, do you write everything down, notes app?
Just drawing.
Drawing?
I carry around a little sketchbook, and I'm almost 50.
Yeah.
So
oh wow.
So I'm like pretty old school and a little bit Luddite.
Yeah.
So I like to, I do Instagram and that kind of thing, but when it comes to my art, I do tend to stay away from the technical stuff.
Yeah.
I want to move paint around and take it quite slowly.
Oh, nice. And what are you inspired by? Like, what makes you do your work?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think why people paint perhaps is that it's ingrained in us. Like, it's a biological thing. It's like a primordial thing that goes back to cave painters and, the Neanderthals drawing abstract forms on walls. I think it comes from that in a way. But, it's everything in life. It could be other artworks. It could be conversations. It could be, me returning back to Aotearoa and seeing family and thinking about where I came from and, ideas about colonialism going somewhere else. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Like, it's all, it's the rolling stone that accumulates all the moss. It just keeps on outlaying stuff and the ideas are always like a carrot on a end of a rope. You never quite reach it because there's always new stuff coming where you can do it better. So it's a sort of a chase that you probably will never get to the end of it. Which is quite fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to say, your accent is so chic. It reminds me of like boarding school and everything.
Thank you.
And just to remind everybody that you're in booth 35, correct, at the Spring Break Art Show?
That's right. It's under Ross Brown.
Okay.
He's the curator for our show Message in a Bottle.
Okay. And are you going to be here every day until the fair closes?
I'm going to try to. I've got to go to Los Angeles on Friday. I've got a solo show opening at La Luz de Jesus on Friday night, but I'll be back on Sunday. So I'm going to try and be here as much as possible. Yeah,
that was actually going to be my next question. Do you have anything coming up after the Spring Break Art Show?
Yeah, well, there's the show in LA at the same time, and then I've got a couple of other things coming up, and I'm blanking right now, but they'll be on my website and Instagram.
No worries, on the Instagram.
I try and keep those up to date.
That's awesome. And how many works do you have in this show coming up in LA?
LA has 16 paintings. And
do you have a life? How you create so much work? I love that.
Well, these go back to 2022, I think. Yeah, but I'll make work and I put it away and then I bring it out and I'll look and see what the visual links are and what the conceptual links are and then put it together. So I've always got enough stuff to pull from. I don't like painting for a show. I'd rather select out of a continuum.
You're probably like out of the artists that I speak, because I'm on season 6 of my podcast, you have great work-life balance. Because I love how you say, oh no, just 16 paintings, it's nothing. And then some artists I interview or some galleries, they're like pleading with the artists, please give me at least 2 paintings for the group show, I need it. But I love how you're able to produce so much work. That's really, really cool. And how you seem so organized with your ideas. And it reflects your work. It's so, as I said, it's like a portal almost. It takes you to like a different world.
I think once you get a focus, then all you got to do is do it. And you don't let anything get in the way. And it's a pretty powerful thing, because it's not anything that's measured by anything else. I mean, it's relative how much work I do to other people, but you can always do better.
I love that. So can you tell us your Instagram name one more time, please?
Sure. It's Matthew _Couper _studio.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today, man. It was such a pleasure.
Not a problem. Thank you so much.
I'm definitely going to check your Instagram, and I'll definitely repost it too. Good luck on the Spring Break Art Show and your new show coming up. It was a pleasure, and thank you again.
Wonderful.
Thank you for listening to Tariq Talk. Follow Tariq Talk on all social media channels and check out the video interviews online.